Today we're going to be talking about Math 7 Unit 6 Lesson D. We're going to be finding percent, which is finding the part, number 1, and we're going to be using proportions to do this. Now the next lesson will show you how to do the same concept, but we're going to be using a different method. So today we're going to be focusing on using proportions. So quick vocab. If you need to, please pause the video right now, and I want you to write down the 3 definitions in your note packet. So a ratio is a comparison of 2 quantities by division. So this is an example of a ratio. A percent is a ratio comparing a number to 100. So if I have 20 over 100, so that's a ratio, and I'm comparing 20 to 100, and that would equal 20%. So that's what we use to represent a percent. A proportion is an equation. Now, this is an equation, which means it needs to have an equal sign in it, and it states that 2 ratios are equal. So for example, we might have 3/4 equals, so there's the first ratio, x over 8. So this is a proportion because it's an equation. It has an equal sign. It has a variable, so an unknown, and this is an equation that states that these 2 ratios are equal. So if you still haven't written down the definitions quite yet, feel free to pause the video and push play when you're ready to continue. So today we're going to be focusing on solving percent problems using proportions. So as we look at our paper, we have a little setup to do. This is the setup we're going to be using. It's a proportion. Now remember, we just got done saying a proportion is an equation, so there's our equal sign. And it's stating that this ratio is equal to this ratio. The right-hand side of our proportion is a number compared to 100, which is our percent. So keep all of those parts in mind. Now I'm going to give you a few hints as we're solving these. So I highly encourage you to write down what I'm going to show you in this video, and then I'm going to be using highlighters, so I encourage you to use highlighters as well. So the part, when we're looking at a word problem or story problem, sometimes you'll see this in reference to the word is. So is represents the part of a whole. So for example, 3 is a part of 4. So if I had 4 pieces of pizza, that's the whole pizza, and maybe I ate 3 of them. So that is a part of the whole thing. Let's say you had 5 suckers and you gave 2 to your friend. So the part that you gave to your friend was 2 out of your whole stack. So out of your whole group of suckers, you had 5, you gave part of them to a friend. So a lot of times you'll see the word is next to the part. The word that also represents whole is the word of. So sometimes we'll say part over whole, or you'll recognize I might say is over of. Now, what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to highlight all of the parts in pink. I'm going to highlight the whole thing in yellow, and I will highlight the percent in purple. Now, let's say you don't have any highlighters at all. Here's what I recommend if you're using a pen or a pencil. You can circle the part. So if you don't have a pink highlighter, maybe you want to circle the part. If you don't have a yellow highlighter, maybe you're going to put a box around the whole number. And then we need to think of another symbol for percent. You could underline the percent, or you could do like a little cloud shape. But just like I have 3 different highlighters, I want to use 3 different shapes when I'm breaking the problem up. So let's take a look at a couple of examples real quick. And the one thing that you'll notice I didn't highlight, I didn't circle, or I didn't do anything to was the 100. So this never changes. So never changes. So keep that in mind. Okay? Now, There are 3 other numbers in this proportion, so that's again why I chose 3 different highlighters. You can choose 3 different shapes to use, so that's what this 3 numbers represents. The part, which is up here, the whole, and the percent. So in every problem, we will know 2 of the 3 numbers, and we are going to have 1 of these that we don't know. Just like up here, we have 3 of the numbers, and 1 of them we don't know. So we're going to, or I'll show you because this one should be a 100, so I'll take that back. But let's look at the first one. What is 30% of 50? So right away, hopefully you notice that there's a percent. So we're looking for a percent. I'm going to highlight that purple, or you can put a cloud around it. There's the word is, but there's also the word of. So I'm going to have to show you how to break this up. Now, what is, that is my part. So what is, I'm going to highlight that in pink. My percent is purple. 30% of 50. So notice the word of is representing the 50. What is my part, and that's what I don't know. So that's going to be my variable. That's my one number I don't know. I know the whole is 50 and the percent is 30. So here's what you're going to do now when you set this up on your paper. You're going to write 2 ratios equal to each other. So this is going to be one ratio, this is going to be the other, and this is my equation because I'm putting an equal sign here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our part on the top. Well, that's the question, what? So we're going to use that as an X. We don't know that. The 30 is my percent, so that's going to go in the top right. My of is 50, so that's going to go down here. Now, there's one thing missing. I don't have anything here. I used everything from the equation, but keep in mind, this down here is always 100. It never changes. So when you set up your proportion, you can always put this in first. Now let's solve it. So we're going to do what's called the butterfly method, or the cross products. So I know x times 100, so we write that as 100x equals, because there's our equals, 50 times 30. Okay, now we want to get x by itself. So the opposite of multiplying by 100, I'm going to divide by 100. And then we can type all of that into our calculator. All right, so I didn't bring my scientific calculator home, or I need to go find it. So I'm just going to use my calculator on my phone because I'm just going to do 50 times 30 divided by 100. So 50 times 30 divided by 100. Our x is 15. So that is our missing number. 15 is 30% of 50. So 30% of 50 is 15. So that is what we just found.